So hopefully in this video we're going to demonstrate the features of the new UNITAF mod. Obviously we already have a UNITAF mod. This one is known as the UNITAF Framework mod, and it's something Grez has been working on for actually near about 4 months now. And it's essentially just the natural successor to the system we came up with a little while ago, probably over a year ago now, which you'll all know, or at least refer to as the table. And what it essentially does is retrieves your loadouts and equipment from the website and then applies it in any given mission. The UNITAF mod though does a lot more than that, and hopefully Grez is going to show us through that process. I'm sat here on the Brimstone 1 respawn screen at the moment because actually the UNITAF mod affects what we do from the second you join the server. So just to explain, the table no longer exists. It's all handled by this mod. What should happen when I click respawn now is it's going to automatically give my loadout to me and teleport me to the start position. Now in Brimstone, I was a platoon leader on this op, so I should spawn exactly where the normal respawn is, because that's usually where HQ spawns. So let's see that in action. So we've got a nice welcome back screen. You can see my arsenal's been loaded there, and I'm straight away with a weapon. There's Grez. No table, and you'll also notice it's automatically put safety on for me, which is handy. And there he is. This is definitely not our second time recording this video, is it, Grez?
No, it's the first time.
Cool. So I just explained how the auto orbat thing works. But I think this time, for the definitely not second take of this video, if we cover sort of how it affects the player, like what the players will notice is different, and then we'll do like mission designers after that.
Yeah. So in short, you will notice nothing, except that you don't have to run to a table anymore to get your orbit data.
And then it puts save on automatically.
Yes. And it will make sure that not only the same stuff as which the orbit had, or which the table had, but it also does some other stuff in the background, like giving you Zeus, giving you medical perms, giving
Patches?
The patches should work, but, well, as you can see, they're not at the moment.
We'll fix it. And
we'll fix that.
It does radio frequencies as well, doesn't it?
Yes, automatically your first channel is set to your own group channel.
Which is, I mean, for a lot of experienced players, probably not that useful, but if you think about like a recruit FTX, they're going to spawn with the radio and they'll already be on the frequency. So it's kind of really handy for people joining late, I think.
Well, it's even that it's set in such a way that your channel 1 is your group channel. Channel 2 is automatically set to the additional channel to the parent group channel.
Nice. Okay, so here I'm in this mission, 50 for all the squad leaders and me, and then 37 for presumably the Zeuses in this case. That's nice. So for a fire team, they should automatically have their channel 1 as their fire team and channel 2 as their squad, and already set to auto.
Yeah, and it's all set from the database. So if it's wrong, it's James's fault.
That wasn't in the first take. We forgot that in the first take, though, to be fair. So yeah, it does patches, and there's a new patch design, but we just got a little thing to fix on patches. It sets you to already puts you in the right group for SD HUD. And does it set colours as well?
Yes, although I noticed that it's not working due to a bug with the UI, which it will fix.
Yeah. So, and then equally, we weren't in the same team in that op anyway, so it wouldn't work. But it should set you to the correct team call sign and colour per the Orbat. And I'm sure we'll probably add some buttons to reset colour maybe, because we've got that join in progress issue, so maybe a button to reset colour would be useful. But anyhow, UNITAB.
Yes, UNITAB. Well, first of all, there are two ways to open it. One way was already shown when you joined the server, which is through Control U. The second option is through the ACE self-interaction menu, which says Open UNITAF tablet. And if you open it, you see on the right side the call sign of the group where you're in, who the leader of that group is. So your fire team leader, squad leader, platoon leader. What your own role is, what your body color is, and current team members are currently not implemented. But that will be a feature as well, that you can already see who is in your team, even if they're not in game yet.
Yeah, so if you rocked up to the mission and you were half drunk but you can't remember what you signed up for, it's right in front of you basically.
Yeah, and it helps you to find your commanding unit. Yeah, as you can see, there's a load Orbat button at the bottom, which is currently grayed out, which gets your personal information from the Orbat, like your loadout, call sign, radio frequencies, as we already saw, and several OOPS buttons, which allow you to get a radio, night vision goggles, earplugs, or GPS, depending on the settings.
And they're all grayed out at the moment because for any of these to work, you have to be in range of something, usually the base, or depending on the mission settings. That's right, isn't it? I mean, essentially to stop someone reloading their loadout when they're in the battlefield, essentially.
Yeah, load Orbat only works when you are on base or near an arsenal, and the OOPS buttons can be set by the server admin to be either only the same as the Orbat or everywhere during the mission, which, for example, could be useful for the Liberation server.
Yeah, so let's run to an arsenal, or at least the closest one. So we're in range of being able to use these features. So hopefully now, if we open the UNITAF tablet, there we go. So that's now Sandy. So if I click this load Orbat button, that's now essentially the equivalent of using the table again.
Yes.
Yeah. And then let me drop my radio and my C tab. I'm going to drop my C tab, and I'll show you why in a moment. And I'll drop my earplugs. And so I should be able to just click get short range radio, get MVGs, get earplugs, get GPS. I've now got MVGs, earplugs, radio, and a GPS. What more could you want?
Banana?
get banana, yeah. So I'm seeing a few other buttons, reporter and admin. So
Yeah, I don't see them because I'm not a reporter nor an admin, but James does. So let's start with the admin. That is for the server admins and for basically people who log in as an admin on the server.
So I can see it's giving me the ability to open a full Zeus. I suppose it'd be useful if I needed maybe an item that wasn't in the arsenal or something to that effect. Maybe without us having to give maybe a field leader full Zeus access, they can use that. And then get Zeus, so I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Reload Orbat, what does that do?
At the moment, nothing. But a upcoming feature is to have the full Orbat as on the website, but just on the tablet. And if something changes, then an admin can reload it, so it's also updated for everyone.
Nice. A nice feature here, that's supposed to be a feature video, I know, but one of the biggest problems we talked about before is the game resetting body team colours when people join in progress. A nice button might be reset body colours, or at least maybe when you click reload or that, it resets the body colours for every player. Might work. I don't know if that's possible. But
That's all possible.
so the last one needs to be index, and it says it's going to disable all AI, heal all players, and show an index screen. So I could try that. And you may have noticed at the start also it put me on safe, so nobody can sort of shoot each other. So by default you now spawn with weapon safe on.
And at index, it will put it on safe again. So debriefing can happen without people shooting while alt-tapping. It will also do full heal, so the medics won't run around needlessly.
That's cool. And then, so reporter mode.
Yes, the reporter mode is a new feature which basically opens Splendid Scan for the roles which have access to it. And they can walk around, use Splendid Cam, so basically go out of their own body and make epic screenshots, videos, whatever, with all the features of Splendid Cam.
Yeah, and it seems when I'm in Splendid Cam, I'm hearing you like I'm stood next to you, so I could be having a conversation with someone and filming a video or taking some pictures, and the pictures that you see to get out of Splendid Cam are just much better quality than the default screenshots. I suppose the intent for Splendid Camera is to have a role on the back, or like a press or a journalist maybe, or a reporter or something, and either as part of the role play or just for people that like making videos or screenshots. This gives you access to Splendid Camera without needing to make you a server admin or give you Zeus powers, for example. So I don't think we're 100% sure how we're going to use it, but it may be that specific people get given Splendid Camera access, or it may be that it just becomes an actual all-back position, so that you can focus on making videos or screenshots if that's what you want to do. But it's certainly a really useful tool to have, and accessible via the tablet.
Yeah, and there are some hidden features in there as well.
That's very ominous.
I'm trying to find the correct keybind for it, which I don't know out of my head.
Here's me clicking on all the little screws and buttons to see if they do anything.
I'm sure I have it somewhere.
While you're doing that, there's a couple of add-on options. Let's have a look at those. I'm not sure if they're specific to players or just us. The mod's also doing something with headless clients as well.
Yes.
You can modify the range that the tablet will allow the AUBAT, which is actually meters, so it's set to 20 meters. And at the moment it's saying earplugs within 20 meters of an Arsenal GPS radios, what the radio class name is, and the class name of MVG. So nothing really player specific in there, but that's where you can find it. I'm sure there will be some player specific ones in the future.
Yeah, maybe in the future. There are also some. You can also change the keybinds of the tablet under the controls, add-on controls. So if you don't like Control U or use it for something else, you can change that as well.
Toggle HUD, Alt U. Oh, we haven't talked about Alt U, and then Open UNITAF Tablet Control U. So what's this Alt U all about?
Yeah, basically a lot of people make amazing screenshots, but have still their HUD element on it. And if you use Alt U, it will remove all the HUD elements from Arma itself and from the DUI. So everything will be gone, and you just have a perfect screen.
That could even be for people that just want to play
for
a little
normal
bit
players.
More hardcore, yeah. They don't want to have any HUD elements. It seems like it toggles, so
Yeah, it's a toggle system.
that's cool. So if you like taking screenshots, or you're just super hardcore and you don't even want to know how much stamina or ammo you've got, Alt U to turn your HUD off. That's pretty cool. Cool. So for
Arsenal.
Arsenal. So for players, I think this is probably actually one of the biggest changes for players.
Even when it's only like the start of a major feature.
Yeah. So One of the things I did at the start was, you'll know that I'm in a Petunias loadout. I dropped my CTAB. You can see it on the floor there. One of the biggest problems with our system up till now is that the arsenal contents is hard-coded in the mission file. And so, as a platoon leader, when I go to the arsenal, I've got no way of getting that CTAB back. And the arsenals have a little bit of a habit of eating CTABs and a few other items when they don't have them in them. But what you'll notice when I go into the arsenal is that the CTAB is still there as an item. But I'm willing to bet it's probably not there for you, is it, Grez?
No, it's not.
So
because first of all, it's not in my loadout and it's not in the default arsenal.
So the main change we've made essentially is that instead of hard coding the arsenal contents, what Grez is doing is taking the arsenal, the base arsenal that we've provided for the campaign, and then adding the entire contents of your loadout to that list of items. And then, which means essentially every player in the server has a unique arsenal, basically.
Yeah, it's your the loadout you have on you when you spawn in, so your default loadout, plus the arsenal from the database, which currently is a single one per faction. But in the future, we can take a look at making them role specific, rank specific, or even player specific.
Yes, it just gives us a lot more flexibility and just easier for players to get items that normally they would have to ask a Zeus for, and could slow down sometimes the loadout time. Obviously, the reason we have this system is because we want everyone's role to be special and people to have their own roles. So what we don't really want people doing, obviously you can see I've got rangefinders in my arsenal because it's required for my role, is, one of the risks of this now is me just being able to dish out rangefinders to all of my team. I mean, obviously you just want to be a bit more sensible with it and know that every role is specialised for a reason, but it does give you the option to take additional things. Like if you're an engineer, you could take, for example, multiple demo blocks, give them to a friend to carry. That's fine. I suppose as an AT, taking 44 AT lights and putting them in a vehicle might be frowned upon a little bit, but you get the point. I think with a little bit of reason, it's going to just make it a lot easier for players to complete their loadouts and make sure they've got enough equipment for what they need for the mission.
Without having the wrong people taking it with them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that alone, although it sounds really simple and stupid, is one of the biggest problems solved, I think, by the mod. So, that's Arsenals. We talked about the HUD. We've looked at UNITAB. Is there anything else it does? I was looking at the documentation before. Let's have a look.
At the moment, not. There are a couple of features planned. The first one is the strategic map, which will be loadable from the tablet, which will basically work the same as CTAB. So you have a map, and you can see your current position and the position of where you're pointing, which can be handy.
So essentially a partial replacement for CTAB to get, eventually we can move towards getting rid of CTAB and replacing it with the far superior UNITAB.
Yeah, because the second feature which will be added is the command menu, which is just like in CTAB, which will be a place where leadership can communicate with each other through a message system.
And maybe even we could look at, we'll talk about that afterwards. I suppose the other question is, you've got a lot of things you want to do with UNITAB, but I suppose in view of the campaign centre and logistics, there would be things we could probably do, like spawn it and having the players order vehicles, or vehicles be attached to an operation on the website and then being able to retrieve them through the tablet, for example, would be a relatively easy thing to do, I suppose. But what other things are you planning for the UNITAB?
There will be a logistics system. So similar to the reporter button, there will be a logistics button, which will only be available to people with that role. And there they can either from the mission itself create a crate with items in it, either pre-built or manually selected, without going to Zeus, without going to manually fill a crate from the arsenal, etc. And in the future, we can even expand that to the database so that the database knows which crates are available, which contents are in there, and you just select it, and it will be placed in game and be flagged off in the database as said being used. Those are all features which are on the list.
Awesome. And it says in the notes that there's a smoke bounce fix or something?
Yes, but as a lot of people know, if you shoot a 40 mic smoke grenade about, well, let's say 200 meters away, it will start bouncing another 200 meters. This fix will make sure that it doesn't bounce more than 5 meters from the place where it landed.
Nice. So a little bit more accurate. Is that realistic? I don't know.
Yes, that is realistic. It's actually a bug in Arma, and Ace created this fix, but doesn't use it because it has a minor issue, which is that there's no smoke sound if you stand next to it, which for us is useless because we usually shoot it at AI anyway.
Channel switch.
So we're moving on a little bit to more admin /mission support things that maybe don't apply to all players, but the mod does now. I suppose one thing to mention is that traditionally for Zeus's we're putting their armor UIDs in the mission file. We maybe don't have to do that anymore.
You don't have to do that anymore now. It's all handled from the database.
And so it should, if somebody's like a role player or a game master, it would give them Zeus automatically when they join, but they can also reload the Zeus permission maybe if it bugs out through the tablet as well.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite helpful. We had a problem on Sunday actually with Zeus is not having Zeus. Anyhow, I'm in Zeus now. So there's a few new things in Zeus.
And Eden, for that matter.
So under Blue 4, we've got some of UNITAF's fleet of vehicles from the training server. So any of these, if you're doing FTXs not on Molden or whatever, you've got those. Not an entirely exciting feature, but useful nonetheless. And then under empty objects, we've got a lot more stuff. So I see there's a UNITAF logistics section, but that's under.
Yeah, those are currently just empty crates.
But we've got
Containers.
all of the billboards from the training server, such as this beautiful one behind. So if you're doing a training, or maybe if you're doing FTX on any map other than Molden, and you want to bring up some of the, I mean, these aren't particularly educational billboards, but there are a lot of educational billboards that talk about formations, IDF, types of fire. You can bring these up on demand, even the medical system ones as well. And obviously we can add as many of these as we want, presumably. So there's all those sort of things. And then basically anything that we've made for UNITAF. So you can see a briefing room. So these are all standard assets for the briefing rooms and stuff. So like the United Task Force decals and the reporting points, flags.
Yeah, so they can also be used for mission making. Just make sure that the mod is loaded and you have access to all those materials without loading the old UNITAF mod.
Yeah, so basically just anything that we've textured you can get through Zeus now as well, which is handy. And we'll probably add a lot more. We tend to put campaign-specific stuff now into either one of the two mods that we have, the United Task Force mod or the United Task Force Framework mod, which is the mod we're looking at now. I think, have we covered everything? I think we have.
Yeah, there's still minor bugs have to be fixed, but other than that,
a massive quality of life change from the table system, not just from the ease of use, but just things like the Arsenal contents and setting Zeus and things like that just massively lowers the barrier to entry, and people not needing to be a server admin to do a lot of stuff. And like you say, even a mod that we can deploy on things like Liberation for a slightly different use. I think I said at the start, actually, if I remember rightly, you've been working on it for how long?
I've been working on it for the past probably 4 months. Maybe even shorter, I have no idea. But at least half of it, half of the time I used to build the mod, and the other half of the time I used to get small bugs fixed, and testing and annoying James with database stuff.
But a lot of work's going into it, and like I say, I've done basically nothing on this other than help with the website integration. So if you when you next see Grez, and if you're watching this, don't forget to thank him, pat him on the back. We'll try and find a medal big enough for him. He's looking down at his vest. But definitely we've got 2 channels specific to, I suppose, this mod on Discord. One is the J8 mods channel, and the other one is the J9 scripting channel. So if you've got any feedback or ideas for the UNITAF mod, just like with any of the other UNITAF stuff, such as the website, don't forget to put it in there or to speak to Grez. And I think Grez will post some documentation to do with the mod, specifically if you're making missions with UNITAF, because that's one thing it super simplifies. In our mission files now, I believe there should only be 2 files, or maybe 3. But basically the description.axt and the mission.sqm. So it makes massively easier as well the preparation of the PBOs for missions. And there's some documentation.
You also don't have the problem anymore that if you have custom scripts in your mission, that you don't have to hope that it works, because the mod takes care of everything and does not care about the mission, and the other way around. So you don't have to try to fiddle in stuff from one to another. And
there is some documentation that Grez has made, which I'll post alongside this video. And so if you want to get involved in helping with this, or you're just curious, or you're making missions or something like that, should be pretty helpful. But hopefully this has been a good introduction to the UNITAB, and a little bit of an indication of what Grez is going to do with it going forward. And we hope, a few little bugs pending, that we'll deploy this tomorrow. Today is the 12th of January on NCO op, on Friday on Parabol, and then on Sunday for what should be a 50-man deployment on Brimstone. So please do let us know any feedback, but hopefully this was useful, and bye-bye.